Good evening, I'm Prasad Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories in bite-sized packages. Drugs and a government job do not mix. If you have a government job, what are you doing partying during the wee hours on a Monday? The next story left us with more questions than answers. Youth and Sports Minister Syed Abdul Rahman has suspended a ministry officer who was among those detained for alleged drug abuse. In a brief statement this afternoon, the minister said he was informed of the arrest this morning. The arrest also involved other government officers. He said he would leave it to the authorities to act according to the rule of law. Apart from the Youth and Sports Ministry's officer, it was also reported that Dengkil assemblyperson Adhif Syan Abdullah was among those detained in the drug raid. This story has a few twists.
Dengkil assemblyperson Adhif Syan Abdullah, who is also the Selangor Bersatu Youth chief, denied that he was among those detained in a raid together with 10 unidentified government officers. However, that denial didn't last long, even making things rather awkward after Selangor Bersatu chief Abdul Rashid Asari confirmed that the party assemblyperson has been detained for using illicit drugs at 1:30 a.m. today. Abdul Rashid said the assemblyperson did not contact him on the matter and he had learned of the arrest from the Home Ministry. Meanwhile, Home Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, who is the president of Bersatu, denied reports claiming that one of his aides was among those detained for alleged drug abuse. Muhyiddin said the person accused of being his special officer was actually a staff with the party headquarters. However, the minister did confirm the arrest of Adhif Syan. In the statement released this evening, Muhyiddin stressed that he will not interfere with this case and the authorities must take action according to the law.
We've all heard the telephone conversation recordings last week. So did Najib and his lawyers, and they're taking action.
Can I advise you? Can I advise you something?
Yeah, hang on. Okay, anything?
Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak has decided to initiate contempt of court action against the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission and its chief Latifah Koya. Najib's lawyer Muhammad Shafi Abdullah confirmed this but said that he couldn't give details. This is over the release of 9 audio clips by the agency last week, purportedly of phone conversations between Najib and several individuals that touched on 1MDB-related issues. Among the conversations revealed by the MACC last week was one between Najib and Zulkifli Ahmad, who was then an officer with the Attorney General's chambers in 2016 over MACC's findings in 1MDB. Others included alleged conversations between Najib and high-ranking individuals from the United Arab Emirates concerning the US Department of Justice's 1MDB civil forfeiture suits and funds channeled to the former Premier's stepson, Riza Aziz.
More than 7,000 people die on Malaysian roads every year. That's at least 19 deaths a day. One more life was claimed today. Also heard in that particular accident were some of the world's top international shuttlers. The Malaysia Masters champion and the current badminton world #1, Kento Momota, and 3 other international shuttlers were hurt on their way to KLIA after the white van they were travelling in crashed into the back of a lorry. The driver, identified as Bhavan Nageswarau, was killed in the crash. All 4, including England shuttler William Thomas, sustained minor injuries and were taken to the Putrajaya hospital. According to local media reports, Momota was left with a broken nose. Youth and Sports Minister Syed Abdul Rahman visited the shuttlers at the Putrajaya hospital this morning, where he told reporters they were recovering well and they will get the best treatment. In a few days, Kimanis will vote to elect its next MP, following a by-election campaign that was dominated by one issue, the Sabah Temporary Pass or PSS. Both sides have taken contrasting sides, so let's take a look at what they've said so far. BN has strongly opposed the implementation of the PSS, which is scheduled to roll out in June to over 130,000 migrants who are currently holding IMM13, burung-burung cards and census certificates.
Sebab warisan ada agenda. Mereka nak memerintah berpuluh-puluh tahun di bumi Sabah ini. Dengan PSS ini, maka memudahkan untuk legalize pendatang-pendatang ini. Apabila dia pemegang kad holder PSS, dalam masa 5 tahun dia boleh memohon kad merah. 10 tahun dia boleh menukar kad biru. Apabila kad biru, dia boleh jadi pengundi sudah.
However, according to Home Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, the PSS is a system that should be put in place for humanitarian reasons.
Daripada lahir sampai dia meninggal dunia pun dia mati tidak jadi warga negara apa-apa. Seksa hidup mereka. Saya tahu ada orang yang nak bunuh diri di Semenanjung pasal tak ada dokumen. Dia bangun pagi tak tahu dia orang apa. Kita ni nasib baiklah, bertuah Tuhan bagi kita ada kemudahan ni. Saya rakyat Malaysia mana? Ada IC. Mereka bangun pagi, daripada anak kecil sudah membesar. IC tak ada, apa tak ada. Nak kata orang Malaysia tidak, orang Filipina tidak, orang Indonesia tidak. Aku orang mana ya?
Mana cadangan yang baik, walaupun dia datang daripada parti yang sudah kalah, mereka akan cuba laksanakan. Okay? There is no two ways about it. Doing something is better than doing nothing at all. Okay? Berpuluh tahun negeri ini, negeri Sabah ini, menjadi mangsa kepada soalan yang disebutkan itu.
The PSS was announced by Muhyiddin last September, but there have been claims that the PSS was actually a proposal from BN in the first place. However, that claim has been denied.
Kita memang tidak ada niat untuk laksanakan PSS. Tetapi warisan dan PH memang telah menyatakan bahawa inilah hasrat mereka. Jadi itu satu yang saya nafikan.
So the question remains, how big of a dent will PSS make in this by-election? With over 29,000 people registered to vote in Kimanis, the answer will be known this Saturday. If you were to oversee funds for a company or a foundation, you can't just use the money for personal use. That would be a criminal breach of trust. So you're probably wondering, but if I use the funds for cigars and an oven for my wife, would that be okay? No, why would that be okay? Yayasan Pengurusan Ilmu's former Board of Directors member, Abdul Rahman Mamat claimed trial at the KL Sessions Court today to 3 counts of criminal breach of trust involving over 170,000 ringgit. Abdul Rahman pleaded not guilty after the charge was read out to him before Judge Azura Alwi. On his first charge, Abdul Rahman, in his capacity as director of the foundation, is said to have transferred 150,000 ringgit from the fund to his private company, Syarikat Mudra Resources Sendirian Berhad, on November 23, 2018. On the second charge, he purportedly abused over 3,000 ringgit from the foundation to buy 2 boxes of cigars, Monte Cristo Edmundo and Romeo y Julieta White Churchill. On the third charge, he was alleged to have abused 25,000 ringgit to buy a Rational Combi oven and Ultra Vent Plus exhaust hood for Coffee Sandwich Revival, a company owned by his wife. Abdul Rahman was charged under Section 409 of the Penal Code, which provides a jail term of up to 20 years, whipping and a fine upon conviction. He was released on a 100,000 ringgit bail with 1 surety. Coming up next, Iranians are standing up against their own government. 2019 wasn't a smooth year for the British royals, and it seems that 2020 hasn't been a bed of roses either. Don't go anywhere, all that and more coming up after this. Public fury has erupted in Iran after the military admitted mistakenly shooting down a Ukrainian airliner amid heightened tensions with the United States.
The word they are chanting is resignation. Public fury has erupted in Tehran, piling pressure on Iran's leadership after the military admitted mistakenly shooting down a Ukrainian airliner. All 176 people on board were killed in Wednesday's missile strike, and many were Iranians. Relatives and friends of those who died held a vigil outside a Tehran university on Saturday.
Our children were killed in the sky. That's why we're gathered here. Where do we go?
By the end of the day, the protests had spread. Riot police firing tear gas at thousands on the streets in the capital and a host of other cities. Some chanting death to the dictator, directing their anger at Iran's top authority Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Public anger boiled up following days of denial by the military that it was to blame for the crash, issued even as Canada and the United States said it appeared that Iranian air defenses had shot down the airliner, probably in error.
Times have been tough for the British royal family. Late last year, Prince Andrew stepped back from public duties over the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Now there's trouble with Prince Harry. Prince Harry has been summoned by his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, for a crisis meeting after he and his wife Meghan announced that they would be stepping back from royal duties. Meghan, who has already left for Canada, will attempt to join the meeting via telephone, according to Reuters. Harry's father, Prince Charles, and his brother, Prince William, will also attend the meeting on Monday. The palace source said it remained the Queen's aim to find a resolution to the crisis in days rather than weeks, but it could require complex and thoughtful discussions, and any agreement would take time to be implemented.
But the way this has been handled, and the fact that a statement was put out apparently without either the Queen or other senior members of the royal family knowing about it, is simply almost beyond belief. Last year was a pretty dreadful year for the royal family. This year has begun in a way that is not only completely unprecedented, but potentially it undoubtedly has very serious consequences.
Without consulting the Queen or other members of the family, Harry and Meghan made an announcement last week that they wanted a new working model that would allow them to spend more time in North America and to be financially independent.
Chinese New Year is just around the corner, and Watsons Malaysia kick-started their celebration campaign last week. Let's take a look.
Watsons ushers in this auspicious Chinese New Year with its esteemed Happy Beautiful Year campaign. During the launch event, Managing Director of Watsons Malaysia, Ms. Karen Loh, had highlighted this year's theme, keeping traditions alive by bridging generations through a balance of tradition and trendiness.
Chinese New Year is where traditional values that is should not be forgotten and should be carried on to the next generation. This Chinese New Year campaign, we talk about how can we bridge the generation gap between the old and the current generation, and so that we have a better understanding and respecting one another generations in a family. So we hope that during this Chinese New Year, we have a better understanding of the both generation. We can bring everyone to be beautiful, and on top of that, to be trendy at the same time.
The 2020 Chinese New Year video was produced to foster bonding and togetherness between two generations in a family.
And here are several other news highlights from today. And that is all from us today. For more stories, go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.